Hey guys, this is Yuri from Best Games Studios, and this is a quick tips video about how to make your game look less like crap. Now, this video may be obvious and self-evident to half of the users on how to make mobile games, and but half may find this useful. So if you think this is too obvious, then yeah, this video is not for you. But if your game looks not as you'd like, then maybe you'd find something useful here. So you don't need to have a really high budget or to be like an artist to have a game that looks neat and a game that looks like really nice. Often there are some simple things that give away a game and make it look like cheap and like it's all thrown together. So one of the big things that I usually see is games that have assets chaotically thrown together and that do not match the style, that do not have like a unified style. So often, I would see on Google Play games that look like almost as if they are Frankenstein monsters, where the deciding factor when it comes to design was which assets the developer was able to find on torrents. And that doesn't mean that games that use assets look bad. That's not a deciding factor. The important thing is that everything has to look like almost as if it's made by the same person. Like there has to be this unified style in the UI, the levels, the characters, the effects. It all has to match. So, for example, if you have like a shooting game and the UI is very cartoony and the levels and characters are very realistic, or what's worse is, for example, if one character is very realistic and another has a totally different art direction, or maybe even if they are both realistic but made in different styles, that can really break the immersion. Also, another thing that really gives away a game and makes it look cheap is the use of default Unity UI elements. This type of new UI where the outline is like a black and inside is white, so this type of element. So always be sure to change the UI, and when it comes to the UI, make sure that the compression on the textures is great, and that there are no blurry textures or that UI elements that look like too obvious as though they have been rescaled and used not in their original purpose. And another sort of tip is make everything as simple as possible, especially if you're just starting out. Simple doesn't mean cheap. Something can look really can have a really nice clean visual style, yet at the same time look very neat and polished. So as long as everything looks as though it's in the same style, it can look really nice. And when it comes to using assets, for example, if you've added some asset and it doesn't completely match, but you think it's close enough, you can modify the asset, and that's something I often do is, for example, modify the color and hue saturation and color balance in Photoshop, modify maybe perhaps the brightness of the asset, so that it matches the color scheme of your app and your levels as closely as possible. And same thing with all the other assets, like modify their texture colors so that everything has the same sort of color spectrum. It doesn't look like, for example, everything is like dark and then this one character is like a rainbow. So that can also really impact your game. And also I suggest, if you're still having trouble with this, then look at the UI and overall art direction of games that you really think have a nice style, and try to at least approximate that style. And of course it won't happen overnight. It's always a continuing process. I'm still learning, you're still learning. It's just a matter of improving with each game and trying to find your own style and art direction. So guys, I hope this has been useful and have a great day.